Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
Today is Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2020. Christmas is almost upon us. Christmas in the form of the playoffs is almost upon us as well. Ooh. We are in there, baby. We are in. One more game. That's all we need to win. One more game. And we are a lock for the playoffs. To expound on that a little bit further, if we win this game and the Saints lose this game, who are they playing?
I cannot. No, wait, I just saw
Minnesota. And then the week after that, we get to play Atlanta again, and they got to play Carolina. If they lose that game and we win our game, guess who has the number one seed? What? Guess who wins the NFC South?
What? Will we definitely have the number one seed, or will we be in contention for the number one seed?
I'm pretty sure we'll have it.
Because the Packers are still kind of in the running.
Yeah, I guess it does depend on what they do. But we beat the Packers, so if we tie with them, and if we win out.
Yes, that's true. And we don't even, so that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is we lose tomorrow. On Saturday, which I don't think is going to happen, but we could still be securing a playoff berth if the Bears lose. So even if we lose tomorrow, there's still a way in.
Yeah. If we lose tomorrow, it's really no big deal. We just only have to win one more. If we win one more, then we're in. Ain't nobody can catch us. Ain't nobody can beat us. And it's still possible we could get in the playoffs without winning any more.
Yeah. So 9-7. It will be crazy. I do expect a win on Saturday. We'll get to that later. But to finish potentially 10-6 or even 11-5 is kind of like a whoa.
This is so funny.
I've never seen that.
We talked before we did the podcast here, and we're like, all right, here's what let's do this as a structure. We're going to do this and this and this. And then we start the podcast and immediately just blow it out. We start talking playoffs. We did not have that planned at all. All right, let's get a little bit of structure here. We got some fact checks and follow-ups for you. Molly, what you got?
It has been so long since we did a podcast. And just a side note, like Christmas this time of year is just crazy. And then in case you couldn't tell, we rearranged our office. So between trying to get stuff done for Christmas and getting the new office set up and getting our audio working and all that, we missed the last two podcasts that we would have had, which was a bummer. But it had been so long that I had to refresh my memory. We talked in the last podcast, there was an article from Joe Bucs fan, and I brought up, I saw a headline, was Fournette benched? And I did not bother to read the article. So I just want to follow up on that. Joe Bucs fan, the article that they had was questioning whether Fournette was benched because he was inactive for the Vikings game. So they were more asking the question. They didn't have an answer to it one way or the other in the article. But clearly he wasn't benched. I mean, he didn't play that game, but then he came in the next week and was our starter against Atlanta. So that kind of clears up that question. Any ambiguity there. We talked about in 2018, we had a 10 plus sack player, and we were questioning who that was. Ralph, you conjectured that maybe it was JPP, and you were indeed right. He had 12.5 that year. And the next highest on the stat sheet was Carl Nassib, had 6.5. So 6 less sacks than him.
Interesting.
I know.
Forgot about old Nassib.
I know.
Nassib.
I miss him. Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's all I got for fact checks.
All right.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. Keeping ourselves accountable here. That's our job. We like doing that. We got a good show for you today. We're going to cover a lot of news. Molly's got a bunch. I've got a bit. We're going to talk about the game against the Atlanta Falcons. Got finished with the All-22. Got the videos out. I got some thoughts on it. Also, thoughts on the Minnesota game. I don't think we did the All-22 on that. They're kind of going to coincide a little bit there. And then we're going to talk about the game coming up Saturday against Molly.
Detroit Lions.
Okay. Well, I was waiting for you to say something.
Oh, sorry.
Molly has watched the Detroit Lions games, and she has got some notes prepared for us. A bunch of notes, apparently. She was all excited about it, showing me clips. She's like, you got to see this. You got to see this. So we got a lot for you. We need to get into it. All right, Molly. What do we got for news?
Okay, we have made some roster moves in the last couple of weeks. We released wide receivers Cyril Doink Grayson, and Josh Pearson from the practice squad, and then we ended up re-signing Josh Pearson.
Oh, we didn't re-sign Grayson. He's the one that's been flip-flopping back and forth,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So, and then on the 18th, we had signed punter Dustin Colquitt and long snapper Garrison Sanborn to the practice squad. That was when we had the whole issue with our specialist group being put on the COVID reserve list. That ended up being a false positive. So we brought on those two guys, and they are still on the practice squad as of today. So they're still there. We made another roster move. This one was kind of a long time coming. Justin Evans, who was a former 6th-round pick of the Buccaneers, was waived with a failed physical designation.
He was a 6th-round pick?
No, second.
Oh,
former
you said 6th.
2nd-round pick.
Yeah, I was like, I thought he was 2nd or 3rd round.
No, 2nd. Thanks for catching that. He hasn't played or practiced since 2018. So,
good Lord.
Not a huge shock that he has a failed physical. I just, that one, I felt like they held on too long to that one.
Yeah.
But I guess a 2nd-round pick, it's kind of expected.
Yeah.
Devin White was named the NFC Defensive Player of the Week for his performance against the Falcons. I have a feeling I know why you.
Yeah, I got a few things to say about that. So.
He had 12 tackles, 10 solo, 3 sacks, 4.5 TFLs, 2 passes defended, and 3 quarterback hits. So, regardless of what he looked like on the film, he looked pretty good on the stat sheet.
Yeah.
So.
Mark Schlereth is going to be calling our game Saturday.
Who is that?
An announcer.
Oh, okay.
Ex-player. I don't know how to tell you who he is.
We're talking like I should know him.
I figured you would. I mean, you've watched enough football games.
Oh, maybe. Once I hear the voice, I'll know.
Right. I should right now go and play some. Hold on.
I know.
Hold
you should
on.
have had that ready.
I'm gonna do it.
Should have known.
All right, I got something queued up for you.
Okay.
That's you let me know if you don't recognize this guy or not. Anything?
Call that,
Anything?
hey, we aren't supposed to be here, so let's shock them while we're here.
Mm-mm.
No?
Oh, wait.
Perhaps no Bronco trout.
Nope.
Okay.
I got nothing.
There you go. That is so weird, man.
They have different announcer voices than they do speaking voices, so I might recognize his announcing voice.
Okay.
We lost Josh Rosen from the practice squad. He was scooped up by the 49ers. That one surprised me.
Yeah.
And I was a little like, shucks. I was hoping he might be the future.
The future.
But I guess not.
Ryan Suckup's on pace to break Matt Ryan's field goal record, or team record of 131 points. He's 25 for 27 on field goals, 92.6%, which is really, really good.
Yeah, we might break the Matt Bryant curse.
Yeah, no doubt. That's right. Suck up. You can do it. We're going to break the playoff curse. We're going to break the Matt Bryant curse. This is the year of breaking everything.
Yes. Rick Stroud reported that Jason Pierre-Paul provided 150 bikes and other things for kids at the Deerfield Beach Boys and Girls Club.
That's cool.
So doing a little charity.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this in the last one, that Sue and his wife are expecting twins? We might have touched on that one.
Yeah, they got some great Instagram stories and pictures out. Those are really awesome. Yeah,
And they
I
got
mean, they're
a
like
whole spread.
professionally done.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they have a cinematography crew following them around or something.
Yeah, well, they do like chef videos on Instagram, or Sue does, and sometimes she's in
Sue likes to eat.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's apparent.
These linemen, the guys in the trenches, like Ryan Jensen. Speaking of the guys in the trenches, the league has said that Saints defensive end Cam Jordan would probably not be suspended for the punch that got him ejected from the Kansas City game, but it will be reviewed for a possible fine. I don't know if you saw it. I went back and watched it, and it looked like hand fighting to me, but not a punch. So if you can really make that
the Saints are dirty. They need to just
forget them.
Fine
Whatever.
and suspend all of them.
I know. The whole team. Might as well.
Apparently, Todd Gurley is not the lead running back for the Atlanta Falcons anymore. It's Ito Smith, according to Raheem Morris.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of a surprise. But according to the Atlanta fan base, because I did go and check out all their salty tears after the game, went to all the forums and stuff and their websites. Yeah, they were a little upset, but they were all happy because apparently they don't like Todd Gurley. He's not done enough for them. So,
Interesting.
Kevin Green died. That's sad. Young. He was 40 something.
I think in his 50s. Like
In his
56.
50s? That's sad. We don't know what he died of yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
It was like sudden, though.
if you're not familiar, Kevin Green, he played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Carolina Panthers, I think the Rams, back when they were St. Louis, I think. And I want to say he coached with the Carolina Panthers for a while. Can't remember. But he was an interesting player, always had long blonde hair sticking out of the back of his helmet. Sad thing to see. He's no longer with us.
The Panthers fired their general manager, Marty Herney, over the week.
Marty Hernia.
What I think whoever tweeted it first, like Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, they actually accidentally typed in Mary Herney. So everyone was like, who is that? The first woman GM? They just fired her. So they will be in the market along with the Atlanta Falcons for a new GM. You got any more news you want to throw in there real quick before I get to this last piece?
The Carolina-Washington game has been moved to 4:05 p.m. Sunday.
They got flexed.
Got flexed.
So what were they originally? Were they the 1 o'clock and then they got flexed to 4? I was confused.
Sure.
I know. I don't
know.
I don't know. And why would you even move that? Like, who wants to see that?
That's probably why they moved it, because nobody wants to watch it.
That's what I mean. Was it like the 8 o'clock game that they switched out?
Might have been. I don't know. Dan Snyder's in a little bit of trouble again. It seems like, according to the newspapers, the NFL did their own investigation on the sexual assault allegations going on throughout the Redskins organization. And at first they were like, Dan Snyder didn't have any involvement with it. It was all underlings. And come to find out, it appears that Dan Snyder is targeted now.
Oh, no.
The investigation pulled up some stuff. So we'll see what happens to that. They're going to run him out of town. He's going
Wait,
to
so there are accusations now against him? Is that what that means?
I don't know. It wasn't real specific, but, he's been attacked ever since he's bought the team. He won't be there. I mean, you look at the Carolina Panthers guy. They ran him out of town in a year over, what was it, some sexual harassment thing, or
yeah,
he
I think
said
so.
something. I don't remember. But yeah, you get put on their target, man, on their radar. They're going to run you out eventually. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Dan Snyder will be the owner of that football team next year. Apparently, they paid a former employee $1.6 million as part of a confidential settlement in 2009 after she accused Daniel Snyder of sexual misconduct.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there you go.
There we go.
Let me see. Bruce Arians said Kevin Green, who we just mentioned passed away, said he He tried to hire Green in Arizona, but Green turned down the job because he wanted to coach his son in high school. Arians said, "We lost a great, great human being." Arians always has good things to say. Linebacker Mark Barron has been waived by the Broncos.
I saw, and they paid him like over $1 million, and he never took a snap.
Yeah, looks like that's probably the end of his career.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Our officiating crew for this weekend is going to be Steve Novak, I think. Hold on, I've got it right here. I should have had it already ready instead of just guessing and then going, I need to check that out because I don't want to do a fact check or follow up on it.
Well, I don't even know who that is, Steve Novak. I know their
Scott
faces.
Novak. Yes, let me see. Scott Novak was our referee in one game, and he was absolutely horrible. If I recall, again.
Okay.
I
Lovely.
might be.
Well, I mean, you think they're all horrible. So.
Well, this is true. And, it's not because I want to think that. It's just they keep proving me right.
Definitely, yeah.
Let me see. I don't know. I should have had all this ready.
Ralph.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Okay.
we've had him once before, and I don't recall it being an awesome referee crew. So
Okay. Maybe we'll follow up
week
on that
7.
one. Week 7.
And that was against the Rams. And what grade did I give them? A C. 10 uncalled penalties. Not too bad. A C.
That's worse.
Yeah. You're getting higher than a C, so that's like officially an A.
Yeah.
And that's how sad is that when there's 10 uncalled penalties and I go, yeah, it's pretty good. Yes. The Lions, we got to. Are you going to talk about the COVID stuff coming up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I got that.
I won't touch on that.
Okay.
Yes. Devin White. Okay. We've covered all that. Okay. Yes, I'm done with the news.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So our last tidbit of news, which got some Bucs fans riled up, was that JPP was selected for the Pro Bowl. He was the only Buccaneer to be selected. And that was outrageous to some of you Bucs fans who thought people like Lavonte deserved to go, Devin White deserved to go. So, Ralph, I wanted to hear your thoughts.
Tristan Wirf definitely deserved to go. And, I don't know how Tom Brady didn't get into that conversation.
I know.
It's actually incredible. If you look at his stats alone,
which is what the Pro Bowl is based on, basically.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah, you could make an argument that Aaron Rodgers is better based on stats, but that's about it. I don't know why Tom Brady wasn't selected. I really don't. The guy's got 3 times more touchdowns than he does interceptions. He's, at this point, I want to say he's like equal to Aaron Rodgers in everything. I think he's got more interceptions. I don't know. Did Aaron Rodgers get Pro Bowl?
I don't know. I can't even think of who made it.
Yeah.
But
there's definitely a case. Mike Evans, Ali Marpet, he was out for a few weeks, so that hurt him. Shaq Barrett, how does he not?
Yeah.
I just.
Carlton Davis.
Yeah, well, if it was up to me, all the Buccaneers would go. It would just be the Buccaneers, and then all the other players would be on the other team.
People were particularly bent out of shape that Lavonte did not get in.
And Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
Can you name a better running back in the NFC?
No.
Right?
Dalvin Cook maybe.
Yeah, okay. Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
He's the fifth place running back as far as yards on the season, and he doesn't play all the time. He's not a 3-down back. It's really incredible. And plus, we've had a couple of games. We had one game where we only had 6 running plays. So it's incredible what the guy's done with the opportunities he's gotten. I don't know, man. I hate the Pro Bowl. I really do.
I know. That's the whole thing, though, where I'm like, yeah, I mean, I kind of care, but not really, because we've been snubbed for so long. Lavonte's been snubbed for so long. It's just about par for the course.
Yeah. Poor
So.
Lavonte.
I know.
I don't really feel like but I don't know. We'll get into Lavonte here in a moment.
Okay.
But yeah, Jason Pierre-Paul, I mean, he has just really played lights out. To be, I don't want to say old, but, as much of a veteran as he is, and to have gone through so many injuries as he has, to be out there and performing the way he's performing is incredible. Through week 15, Pierre-Paul has recorded 50 tackles, 6 for a loss, 12 quarterback hits, 9.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 4 passes defensed, 2 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries. He's the only player in the NFL this season with 5 or more sacks and multiple interceptions.
That's crazy.
His 9.5 sacks are tied for the 7th most in the NFL this season, and his 4 strip sacks are tied for the league lead. He ranks second among all front 7 players while tying for 4th among that group in interceptions. Well, I'll tell you what, he has been a steal for us. I can tell you.
I know. Thank God. And thank God for Jason Light, who made that happen.
Yeah. Yes, and we are very fortunate to have him. We got to keep him, too. Keep him on the roster. Is he up for free agency this year?
I can't remember.
I think everybody is.
I know. That's how I feel. I don't want to look because it'll just depress me.
Yeah, and especially if the salary cap drops down to like 145
I know.
million.
It's going to be a mess.
So many teams are going to have to cut really good players. It's going to be a slaughter fest.
And it's not just going to be the Buccaneers.
No, everybody. Matt Ryan, he ain't going to be with Atlanta anymore. That's for dang sure. What's he? He's got a $40 million.
Yeah, something like that. 43, I want to say.
If they keep him next year, they got to pay him $43 million.
I know.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
And even if they cut him, I think that there's a lot of dead cap money.
Atlanta, they ain't very smart.
No.
They're not in the league for their genius levels.
Well, I think that's why they got rid of their GM. Because he did shit like that.
That'll teach them.
Yeah, that'll teach you.
All right. So we got the news out of the way. Let's talk about this game that happened. Atlanta Falcons got the All-22 done. Analyze. I tell you what, this is a fun game to watch. We have been really kicking out some fun games. I enjoy this. And usually when we beat a team, it's just like it's not as fun to watch on the All-22 because there's not a lot of mistakes, and it's basically just us steamrolling people, and that gets old. So you don't get the excitement
it
you do.
It gets old.
But this one had a little bit for everybody. This was a family-friendly beatdown. I'm going to say some things that I think a lot of people are going to get mad about and disagree with on, but I've got the receipts. So, if you want to argue with me on this one, you better come prepared. The first quarter, week 15, against the Falcons, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Without our defensive line, we would not be where we're at right now. Our defensive line is everything to this team. Everything. I'm really surprised by the secondary. I thought they would be a lot better this year, and they started off really good until Vita Vea got knocked out by Devin White in the Green Bay game. Right? It was Green Bay?
Yeah.
I would say it was Green Bay. And ever since then, our secondaries have really struggled, and that's because we're just not getting that quick pressure up the middle that Vea gets. That he got us. So our secondary is having to stay with guys longer. And honestly, it's not that they're bad players. And we talked about this at the beginning of the year. It was just like, I was like, man, these guys just aren't making any mistakes back there. They're playing really good football. We can't say that anymore.
Now all they're doing is making mistakes.
A lot of mistakes back there, man. They look confused, and Bowles has simplified this defense a little bit. He's simplified it down because he's seeing the mistakes too. And he's like, all right, if this is too complex for you guys, we'll try to make it we'll dumb it down so even you can understand it.
I felt like during the game that Sean Murphy Bunting was getting picked on. I think the first 2 touchdowns were on him. And it seemed to me like the ball kept going his way.
It did seem that way, but when you watch it on all 22, he was not. I mean, he wasn't great, but he wasn't the bad player on the team.
Who was it?
The one touchdown that SMB got, I think it was Ridley. He definitely got pushed off on. I mean, Ridley just pushed him. He pushed him like 3 yards.
Oh, wow.
And then, these refs, I don't know what they do. They're sitting right there. And I mean, it's obvious when the receiver is 5 yards away from the defender and he catches the ball in the end zone. You know, it's like, but then when you watch it on the tape, you go, oh, come on. How did you not see that? But yeah, he just pushed off him straight. But SMB did make some mistakes. He basically got beat in coverage. I wouldn't say that SMB was out there confused. He was just getting beat in coverage sometimes. Nobody's going to want to hear this. Our linebackers, Devin White, inside linebackers, Devin White and Lavonte David. I don't know what's going on with Lavonte. It's really bothering me. I was going to say this after the Minnesota game, after watching all 22, but there is something going on with him. Now, we had touched on it on the last podcast, but then it was just as bad in the Minnesota game, and it was bad in this game. I mean, he's out there. Gosh, I don't even know how to put this. He's looking like he doesn't want to play. You know, he's just not putting forth the effort. And Lavonte David is one of those guys who always swarms to the ball. He's got a sense for football. You can tell he's one of those guys that can play any sport he wants to. He's just really good with his body, but football is. It seems like he was just born playing football. He's got a knack for going where the ball's at or where the ball's going to be, getting off of blocks, avoiding blockers, making tackles. You know, that's Lavonte David. But in the past few weeks, I'd say 4 or 5 weeks, he's out there he looks lost sometimes. A lot of times he is lost. I mean, you could see he's on the wrong side of the field. And sometimes he's just standing there. You know, that's not Lavonte David. Now, there was a couple plays in this game where he was out of position or was covering the wrong person. And after the play, you could see the secondary is not getting along from what I could tell. Now, again, you know, what you see on the field in the all-22 is just little clips of stuff. But after plays, I'll see these guys yelling at each other. You know, Lavonte and Devin White especially are like jawing at each other after a lot of these plays because one of them is messing up and the other one is pointing it out and the other one doesn't like it. And they're arguing. There was one time where it was Devin White, Kevin Minter, and Lavonte David.
Oh, no.
And it was Lavonte David that messed up on that play. And, you know, it's worrying me. It's worrying me that there's something wrong with Lavonte. Now, me and you we've discussed this, and we've sat and talked about how, you know, speculating on, you know, his personal life. You know, is there something going there? And you brought up some things that happened in the off season, right?
I think so, yeah.
You know, so maybe that has to do with it. It looks to me, and this is pure 100% speculation on my part, it looks to me like he's having personal issues, and football is just not a priority for him right now. I don't know if he's angry at what he's being called to do, but that's just not Lavonte. He's never been that type of guy. And I'm not saying that he's out there, you know, shuffling his feet and all this, but he's making a lot of mistakes, and Lavonte just doesn't do that. And he's been doing it for the past few weeks. Now, I counted, let me see. He had 5 bad plays. This is Lavonte David here. He had 5 bad plays and he had 2 good plays. That never happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been happening the past few weeks. And I mean, good grief. I mean, he's doing things, and I put this on the things I found interesting, and I'm trying to, it's so hard for me to talk bad about Lavonte. And I love Lavonte. Mm-hmm. And I think something's happened. I don't know if he's having issues with his wife or whatever, but his mind is just not into it. But there was a couple plays where he's supposed to go back into coverage. So what he does is he's turning around and, with his back to the quarterback and running down the field. You can't see what's going on, and he's getting burned every time he does that.
So you don't think it's a coaching thing?
No,
okay.
Not at all. It looks really like because like I said, the play will be happening, and if Lavonte David isn't near it, he'll stop and stand there. And he's never done that before, and there's also this thing with the secondary that they don't have energy. And when I say the secondary, I'm talking about the safeties, the cornerbacks, and I'm putting the inside linebackers in that group too.
Yeah.
Where when a good play happens, you don't see them all run over and congratulate each other. Carlton Davis had an excellent pass defense in the end zone, and he almost had an interception. And he landed and he falls, and there was two, I want to say it was Whitehead and maybe Jamal Dean was over there with him. And they just kind of like stood there, and Davis got up and he kind of walked over toward him, and they just did a little like low five thing, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, that was an excellent play. And he's not even getting congratulated on it. And the team's not excited about it. And I'm seeing this all over the field with our secondary.
I definitely noticed it the first, I think, quarter of the Falcons game. It was pretty prevalent.
Yeah, and definitely because they were getting torched in the first part of the Falcons game, the first half, first quarter. And it wasn't until our defensive line stepped up. That's when the game turned around. But we'll talk about that in a second. But we got to remember, who was the Falcons offensive coordinator?
Dirk Cutter.
Exactly. And Dirk Cutter, if one thing he isn't, he is an excellent offensive coordinator. He's going to get guys open. He was great with it with us, and he's good at the Falcons. So, they're going up against, Matt Ryan, Ridley, these guys are not slouches, and they're going up a really good offensive coordinator. So he was able to finagle some wide open receivers and all that. But there was some breakdowns in coverage where you just saw that, oh man, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, what he's supposed to be doing out there on the field. He's just kind of lost. But a lot of it was just Dirk Cutter was just carving us up. So that brings me to the defensive line. We had 0 pressures in the first quarter. It wasn't until about halfway through the second quarter where we got our first pressure, and that was Ndamukong Suh did it. And this has been happening in every game, and I've been like, what's going on here? We've been talking about how, we spot the team 17 points. I Bruce Arians even said that. We're spotting team 17 points. And it's our defensive line. They're not... You got to remember, these guys are all veterans up there. Or we've got Sue, JPP, and Barrett. These guys are veterans. And these guys are really the 3 most important guys on our team right now. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to figure out what's going on, because usually in the first half, they don't get a lot of pressure. But then in the second half, they just take over the fucking field. If you notice, go back and watch the games. This is what happens. The other team will be able to march down the field and score. It doesn't seem like there's getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And then in the second half, normally late in the third quarter, but definitely in the fourth quarter, there's drive after drive after drive where our defensive line is just getting sacks and pressures and interceptions and batting balls down and all this. And so I paid attention in the Minnesota game. Now, the Minnesota game, there was a crap ton of holding by the Minnesota Vikings. It seems like anytime you've got a really good running team, it's because the offensive line is holding a lot. And that was definitely the case with Minnesota against us. And our defensive line was getting held all the time. Now, Ndamukong Suh, you just can't hold him. That guy is a master at getting out of being held. They try to hold him every play, it seems like, but he He got this thing he does with his shoulders and these spin moves he does. So he just doesn't get held. But Barrett, Lavonte David, Devin White, Golston, these guys get held quite a bit. And Nacho and those guys. So it seemed like coming out in the second quarter, they started playing different. And they were coming out and sticking their hands out and keeping the Vikings offensive line off of them. Because the Vikings offensive line, what they were doing is they were getting close to them and grabbing them that way, and pulling them so that the referees couldn't see them. And so they changed their tactics, and then they just started dominating in that game. And it was Barrett, Sue, and JPP. And I'm noticing what these guys are doing is they're not playing hard in the first half. They're conserving their energy. But what they are doing is they're probing the offensive line. You'll see them switch up all the time. I mean, they'll do these stunts and these twists, and they're probing the offensive line. And then in the second half, they just attack. It's crazy. You'll see, you're like, why weren't y'all doing that in the first half?
Yeah.
I every game I've been like that. Why weren't you doing this? And then I go, oh, well, it's working. It's obviously what they're doing in the first half is just probing the offensive line, finding the weaknesses, seeing what people are going to react to this formation and this stunt and this twist and all this good stuff. And then, man, they just start killing them. I mean, the past few games we've had, I think 3 or 4 drives in the fourth quarter that our defense has just completely dominated. And it happened last week against the Atlanta Falcons. The fourth quarter, we just dominated the fourth quarter. Our defensive line did. When they were backed up, and the last play they had, the last drive they had, they were backed up. They started off on our 8. And we sacked them. We were just constantly pressure on Matt Ryan. And it was Shaq Barrett, JPP, and Ndamukong Suh. And those 3 guys are the key to our team. Without those 3 guys, we are not where we're at right now. That's for dang sure. But those guys bring it in the fourth quarter, man. And they start in the third quarter. They'll start shutting offenses down. But the fourth quarter offenses, man, they just shut them down. Man.
And we even saw it as far back as Kansas City. How far up did they get on us? And then in the third and fourth quarter, they only got, 7 points?
Yes. Well, these guys are veterans, and they know to conserve their energy for the fourth quarter. And, we're not running a lot of blitzes like we were at the beginning of the year. We're not doing a lot of dropping back our outside linebackers. I think we did it.
Thank God.
We did it, I think, 7 times this game. It's a lot, kind of, but not as much as we normally have been doing it. And we're simplifying our defense a little bit, and I think we're doing that because the first half of the game, some of our guys just kind of look confused out there, and they're getting whooped. So David, I'm worried about him from a personal standpoint. I think there's something going on there. I mean, he got trucked by a tight end.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not a good look.
No, I mean, this is Lavonte David. It doesn't happen to him. And the tight end's going out. How this was not called illegal contact, I don't know, because it happened right at the 5-yard limit, and it carried on for another 5 yards. But, yeah, I mean, the tight end just comes out, and it wasn't Luke Stocker. Oh, my gosh, who was it?
Hurst?
Yes.
Hayden Hurst?
Yes, Hayden Hurst. He comes running out, heads straight for Lavonte David, and just ran him over. Hit him after 5 yards, and then ran him over for the next 5 yards. And Lavonte David kind of laid there.
No.
Yeah, and then he got up real slow, and he didn't go towards the ball. He just stood there. And it's stuff like that just, I'm like, oh, man, what is going on, David? That's just not David. It's not David. It's not David to get trucked, especially by a tight end. And 2, to kind of lay there and then just kind of stand there when you do get up. So I don't know what to say about David. 45, Devin White. Now, I'm going to say this is going to piss a lot of people off too. His stats were great. His play wasn't that great. I mean, he had 3 sacks, yes. The first sack,
it was like kind of like technically that's a sack, but
Right.
like that was not a sack.
right. The first
Wasn't
sack,
that the one where Matt Ryan like fell down?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the third one. Matt Ryan falls down and Devin White walked over.
Yeah.
And Devin White had nothing to do with Matt Ryan falling down.
I think
either.
like he had touched Matt first and then Matt fell and it was like he was the
No.
only one that touched him.
No,
No?
he wasn't even in the scrum. I mean, it was Lavonte, not Lavonte. It was Shaq Barrett, JPP, and the Ndamukong Suh had come at Ryan, and he stepped forward and he'd run into his own guy and kind of fell down. And Lavonte David Devin White came over and tapped him. Wow! So he got credit for that sack. And then the first sack of the game, the running back totally whiffed on blocking him, so he had a free shot to Matt Ryan. It was nothing that Devin White did. But the second sack was Devin White. Keith Smith, their fullback, went out to block him. Devin White juked him so good and came around the pile. That was a good sack. But Devin White was a large reason why we fell behind fast.
Ooh.
Yeah. You remember that 25-yard pass to Luke Stocker?
Mm-hmm.
It was like a 10-yard pass. He was wide open, and then he ran for another 15 yards. Yeah, that was Devin White. Total breakdown in coverage.
Oh.
He got confused, apparently, as to who he was supposed to cover and left Luke Stocker wide open. Everybody else had their man covered. Devin White was covering Lavonte David's man. Both Devin White and Lavonte David were both covering a dude.
You know, is it miscommunication though?
I don't know. I really don't know if it's miscommunication or just confusion.
Yeah.
You know, but everybody else knew what they were doing.
Okay.
You know, but then that wasn't the only one. Let me see, the first quarter. Yeah, and Bruce Arians brought this up, but he didn't call names. First quarter, their first third down. This was at 13:49. It's 3rd-and-9. Devin White missed a tackle. And the guy caught the pass right in front of him. He went to tackle him. The guy avoided him, and the guy got the first down. And Bruce Arians said that was a big reason why we had such a hard time in the game is because of that play. And he said if we would have stopped them there, got them off the field, got our offense, but they ended up driving down the field and scored. There. Then in the second quarter at 9:41, on 4th and 2, they went for it on 4th and 2. Devin White again screwed up in coverage. And this was the one where the mentor and Devin White and Lavonte David were kind of arguing after the play. They were pointing fingers at each other, and you could tell they were a little heated. But Devin White screwed up in coverage on that one and got beat. They got the first down on a 4th and 2. So I'm not going to begrudge the guy NFC Player of the Week. His stats were great, but he messed up, and his mistakes cost us. But yeah, the inside linebackers have really, and we've been saying this for quite a few weeks, but they've really, really got to step up, man. They're becoming a liability.
Ooh.
Even NFC Player of the Week or not, you can't be allowing 25-yard passes, missing tackles, and letting a 4th and 2 get by you because you busted coverage. Those are big things. So, anyhow, dropped passes. We had 5 in this game. 5. 3 of them were by running backs. 2 of them Fournette. 1 by Vaughn, which he looked so crushed when he dropped that pass. It was right to him.
No.
Yeah, and he was just standing on the sidelines with his head down. He was just like...
Because I think they pulled him right after,
Yeah,
right?
He knew it too. He like slow walked a shame back to the sidelines. But Godwin had a drop pass and Mike Evans had a drop pass. That's 5 drop passes.
Yeah.
We have way too many drop passes on this team. Wells, 72. I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm going, he didn't play bad.
Good.
Yeah, I was kind of impressed.
Low expectations.
Yes, exactly. I was really scared, but it's really Tom Brady that makes these guys look as good as they are. But then after I did everything and I tallied up, who got beat and who had good plays and all that good stuff. Josh Wells had 7 bad plays to one good one.
No.
Yeah, so I was like, ugh. But, he didn't really give up any sacks and stuff. So,
That's
it
good.
At least I don't think he did.
Good
we
Lord,
had one
7
sack, right?
bad plays. No, he didn't get sacked at all.
After I was like, I don't remember him doing that bad, but apparently he did. You know who should have got?
Oh, no, I lied. I just said he didn't get sacked at all. That's not true. He had 3 sacks. Got sacked 3 times.
Brady got sacked 3 times?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was the same exact as what Matt Ryan got sacked. So it was kind of a wash. They were both sacked like 3 times, 24 and 25 yards. So.
Well, our running backs did great. They blitzed quite a bit. And our running backs did. Our running backs have had, to the past 3 or 4 weeks, had to stay in and block a lot more than they had all season. And, me and you were worried about that coming in because last year they sucked. And this year they've done good. There was one screw up, and I think it allowed a sack. But they were laying some good blocks. It was really good. I was impressed with them. And that was Fournette and McCoy.
Okay. The 2 veteran guys.
Yeah, who are in there doing the good blocks.
Yeah.
We need to talk about Shaq Barrett, though. Okay. Shaq Barrett is still playing elite, and that he doesn't get credit. The thing is, he's not showing up on the stats.
Yeah.
But I counted 9 good plays.
That's incredible because, again, he showed up on the stat sheet and had 3 total tackles. 2 solo and a 1.5 TFL. So it's like,
no, it sounds like
you're like,
anything.
Where were you?
But he's out there. Him and JPP and Sue are the key to this team. But he had 9 good plays and 0 bad ones, and that's Shaq Barrett. That's every game. I think last week I had him with 1 bad play where he screwed up.
Well, when I wanted to bring this up when you were talking about how good those 3 are, and if you'll notice, they're all 3 are technicians. Mm-hmm. Like JPP is a little more instinct aggressiveness, but he's definitely like got his moves. And, Shaq Barrett, that's what he is. He's a Swiss Army knife of defensive lineman. And then Sue, he is he's a technician too. He's just a master of his craft. So it's interesting to me that they're the ones who are probing, using their moves to see where the offensive line might be vulnerable, and then coming up with a plan later, together to coordinate and make plays.
Yeah, and it seems like they do coordinate with each other, where they're like, okay, what have you seen? What about, they get together, they talk about it, and they go, okay, here's what we're going to do on this drive, and then they just dominate. There's no offensive line in the league that could stop those 3 guys. There's none.
Crazy.
I mean, they are elite, and you would have to have an elite offensive line to be able to just keep them at a mediocre level. But those guys are just incredible. I sit there and I watch them, and I'm like, wow. I mean, to have 3 guys like this on a football team it's a blessing, and it's really covering up everybody else's. But I will say this: Nacho is really stepping up. Past few games, man. In this game, he played great. Golston, he's actually kind of declined a little bit.
Okay.
But Clendon, he actually had a play the other in the Minnesota game, which he hasn't really done. He's just been a guy. I mean, he ain't screwing up, but he's not really.
He's
doing
not
anything
Vita.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I was about to say. Is that it just kind of breaks my heart that Vita's not there. What they could be with Vita. Those 3 guys and Vita, ugh.
Oh, man, we were so dominant. God. We were killing people, and it was, I miss Vita so much.
I know.
I got to get his jersey. I really do. He's like my favorite football player to watch. He's so much fun to watch. But Clendon is, stepping it up a little bit more. But let's see, Khalil Davis, the guy we drafted, he got some reps in a couple games ago, and he looked really good. I want to see more of him. But Jeremy Ledbetter, oh my gosh. I mean, he had plays out there. I thought he was Ndamukong Suh. I did. I actually wrote down, wow, Sue had a good play there. And then I'd watch, wait a minute, Sue's over here. Who is that? That's 95. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that Ledbetter. He was out there for, let me see, I have it down here. He had 18 snaps. And in those 18 snaps, he had 4 good plays. So that's 20% of the time.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you get 4 good plays out of 18 snaps, man, you are doing something. And he looks extremely strong and, what's the word? Smart. You know.
Interesting.
Yes, I'm excited about him.
He was in on one play, and I forget which one it was. It was one of the ones that we clipped during the game where he flopped on somebody at the end.
It was Matt Ryan he flopped on.
Yeah.
Devin White sacked Matt Ryan, and Ledbetter came in and flopped on top of
Cleaned
him.
it up.
Yeah.
Ooh, that looked
But that was
painful.
it. Ledbetter was right there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if Devin White wouldn't have got to him, Ledbetter was going to get to him. Speaking of Matt Ryan, you know, when I watch these games, I mark when the play starts, you know, when the ball is snapped, and I always have fun trying to predict when the play is going to snap, you know, when the ball is going to snap, you know, because quarterbacks like to try and trick the defense. So I try to, you know, play that little game and, like, you know, I'll hit the button. The M button marks the video. So I'll be like, okay, is it going to snap? Going to snap now? Oh, dang it. You know, and I'll miss it and I'll have to change around. Matt Ryan is the most predictable goddamn snapper on the planet. It is amazing. I don't know how he doesn't get sacked 500 times a game, because you could tell when he's going to snap the ball almost every time. You know, there are some quarterbacks like Drew Brees. It's just like almost impossible to figure out when he's going to snap the ball.
Yeah.
But Matt Ryan's got to tell, and we've talked about this on the podcast years ago. You know, when he's under center, he spreads his legs real quick. He puts his knees out real quick right before the ball snaps.
Oh, yeah, and dips his butt a little bit. Does he dip his butt?
Yeah, he does this little flex thing every time. And it's like, how does he not get killed by these guys jumping so quick? Because they know he's going to snap the ball.
Yeah.
He doesn't go out there and try and trick you with crazy snap counts and all that stuff. Tom Brady does. He'll go through a series where you're just like, okay, here's where he's going to snap it. Okay, here's where he's going to snap it. Okay, he got me on that one. Let's change it up just enough, you know. So I just want to throw that out there. Let me see. Yeah, I got a lot of notes about the Lavonte David and Devin White jawing at each other after plays. And the secondary looking defeated. You know, they gave up too many big plays and just looked really sad out there. You know, like I said, they weren't congratulating each other, and they made some good plays.
Yeah.
Penalty wise, there was 9 uncalled penalties, 2 against the Bucs and 7 against Atlanta.
How much against the Bucs?
2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uncalled penalties.
Do you want to hear what the penalties were for the game?
Very few.
The actual call, yeah.
Oh.
So we had 1 for 10 yards, which, wow. And the Falcons had 3 for 28.
Yeah, the first penalty was not called until the third quarter with 1:45 seconds left. It was a very well played game. It was fun. It was so fun to watch. There was, you know, a lot of coaching stuff. And we have changed our offense. It's probably 40-60 now, where it's 40% of the hybrid Tom Brady plays, you know, and we actually ran a triple crossing route. I've never seen us run that I don't know if I've ever seen us run that, but we definitely haven't run it since Arians has been here. But it worked out great. It was so great. I'll put it in a video. Mike Evans got completely wide open. It was so beautiful. It was really a master.
So that's one of Tom Brady's plays?
Yeah. He likes those crossing routes and the slants and the stuff going across the middle. That's not an Arians. You know, like I said, I think last year we had 10 plays like that all year long, you know, with Arians calling. And this year we've had 10 in the past 2 games.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing a lot more slants and drag routes and just getting guys going across the middle. But that play was beautiful because what it does, it was like a mesh where you had 2 receivers on the left side run across the field to the right, and you have one receiver on the right side run across the field to the left. Now, it worked out perfect because it was man coverage. And what happens is you end up with 3 receivers in the middle crossing each other, 3 guys covering those receivers crossing each other. So you got 6 guys, including the linebackers who are dropping back in coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So you ended up with, I think it was 7 guys in a big ball.
A big mess.
Yeah. And Mike Evans shot out the other side completely free. The guy covering him lost him immediately because there was such a mess of people. And Mike Evans come out the other side. I think he ended up with like a 30-yard, 40-yard catch.
Dang.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, it was perfectly designed, perfectly executed. Caught him at the right moment. So there was a lot of that going on in this game. It was a very, very cerebral game. Mm-hmm. So that was fun to watch. But yeah, Dirk Cutter on the other side, he's going to eat up your secondary. He's just going to do it. He did it when he was with us. I was amazed at how good he was at getting receivers open. And, he did it to us. So we can't bitch about it too much. It's Dirk Cutter. But, we did the same thing. We went right back at him. We were throwing blows, and then about the middle of the third quarter, we just dominated them. I mean, we were just throwing left and right. We were dropping bombs. That pass by Tom Brady to Antonio Brown, you couldn't get more perfect than that. I mean, Antonio Brown could have closed his eyes, and that ball would have landed. It did. It literally landed right. I kept watching it. I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. And something happened during that play that was really awesome. I can't remember what it was. Dang it. I think Tristan Wirfs laid somebody out. Yeah, can't remember.
Cool.
It's in the video.
Yeah.
So go watch the things I found interesting videos, and you'll see it. And you also get to see the reaction of the Atlanta superfan. There was one there that he was just entertaining as hell for me.
Did he leave?
Maybe. I'm not going to tell you. You got to watch the video. All right. So that's the Atlanta game. Worried about the secondary. They've really got to step it up. Extremely worried about Lavonte David. From a personal thing. And when we first started noticing this, we brought it up and we were like, why is the media not saying anything about this? Because it's obvious that something's going on with him. They should just bring up, his play has just not been up to par because I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily want his personal business out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But something's got to break. So anyhow, keep an eye on Lavonte David this game coming up. Hopefully he'll be back to his old self. It's not a physical thing. He doesn't look injured or nothing like that. It just seems like he's mentally not all in right now. All right, so
interesting.
We beat the Atlanta Falcons. We have the limping Detroit Lions coming up. What do you got, Molly? You sat here and watched them. What do you got?
I did. I watched their game against the Titans. So not every game is always representative of a team.
That's all you watched was the Titans game?
It was, yeah. I'll admit it. But it was a fun game to watch. They were fun to watch, and they did get their ass handed to them. Like, I forget what the score was. It was like 25-40 something.
It was 39-28, I think, when I saw it.
Yeah, okay. So, no, it was like double. Like, they beat them by double digits. Tennessee did. But they do like to take shots down the field.
Detroit does?
Yeah, Detroit does. And Matt Stafford, he would throw some beautiful passes that were spot on and perfect. And then he would throw others where there was nobody there. And I don't know if it's a miscommunication with his receivers or if it was his accuracy. I don't know. It was weird, but
yeah. Matt Stafford's a great quarterback. I've always thought he's got that. He could throw a rope 70 yards down the field,
and they do that.
Yeah.
Their offense does. They have this running back Swift too. He's all right. They kind of always have these mediocre. I
know, to go from Barry Sanders. Ever since Barry Sanders, they have not been able to get that running back.
Yeah. But he's kind of built like Peyton Barber. That's who he reminds me of. And he didn't do too bad against Tennessee. He got like 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he did all right, not too bad. I don't think we're going to have any trouble holding him. It's not going to be an issue. Their receiver, Marvin Jones, he got over 100 yards. But, that was like it. So they're not too bad. Their defense has allowed a league high 31.1 points a game.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So they give up a lot of points. Although, like, their defensive line, I was wondering how good they are because they were hitting pretty hard. They did get Tannehill for a safety, and they just clobbered him. It was awful. Like, you could hear the pads cracking in the broadcast. Like, it was a hit.
There's always been something about Detroit. It's a culture up there. They're very that blue collar mentality, kind of like the Steelers. Detroit has always been a tough team.
Yeah,
hard hitting. Just that mindset. Playing them has always been like, gosh, somebody's going to be injured in this game. That's for sure.
But their defense is not. They might be showing up on the film, but they're not showing up on the stat sheet. So they give up over 400 yards a game and can't stop the run either. They're 31st in the NFL. Ooh. And 27th for the pass.
I'm picking Leonard Fournette up in my fantasy.
No, I already got him. So
did you?
Yeah.
Shit.
I got him last week. I can't drop him now.
I got Rojo.
Yeah, don't tell on us. But they have just 12 takeaways and 19 sacks. So their defense, not great, although they do have some they did have some splashy plays against Tennessee.
I doubt very seriously if they'll do much against our offensive line. Our offensive line has been playing really good and a lot more aggressive. Jensen had some nice, good film clips this week. Wirfs did too. Wirf laid out Grady Jarrett. Decleated him. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Ooh.
And Josh Wells, while Donovan Smith, say what you will about him, but when he's gone, it's scary.
Yeah.
And Josh Wells did pretty good. He wasn't absolutely horrible. And Marpet's back, and Kappa's been playing great. But Tom Brady really is the core reason why our offensive line is so good. Not take anything away from them. Those guys are good, but now they don't have to stand there and protect for 5 seconds while somebody's running around in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're able to do what they're supposed to do, which is stop somebody for 2.5, 3 seconds, and then protect one spot on the field. It just makes it so much easier for them.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about their defense, like for those reasons, and that it doesn't seem like they're all that great. But I am worried about Agnew on special teams, who is their returner. Listen, I know. He could hurt us. So, punt returns, he's got 10 on the season for 78 yards. So he's got a 7.8 yard average. But on kick returns, he has 24 attempts, 643 yards.
Damn.
I know, on kick returns. So that's almost a 27 yard average. He's got a 71 yard long. So I'm concerned about him. One thing you say about Pena is he can kick it out.
Yeah,
I think that's what
we
they
need to do that with this, is what you're saying. Well, we're playing in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, it's a dome. The weather's not going to be a factor. Yeah, Pena will kick it out of the end zone every time.
Yeah, that's what they need to do.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Get that memo to Arians.
I know, right? The other thing that's going to be working in our advantage, which is not great for them. So, first of all, on the 21st, they announced that their special teams coordinator, Braden Coombs, was being relieved of duties. And ESPN is reporting that the firing was due to him calling a fake punt that contradicted a direct instruction from Bevell, who's their interim head coach, during their loss to Tennessee.
Mutiny.
Yeah, so the fake punt failed, and the Titans got the ball like on the 35, so they basically, it was like a walk-in.
Damn.
Almost. And of course, that was after Matt Patricia was relieved of duties November 28th. Darrell Bevell took over as interim head coach. But now Bevell is going to be replaced for this game because they had a COVID. Well, they haven't had an outbreak.
Just close, all right? It was contact
Yeah,
tracing
it's all
stuff.
close contacts. Their practice squad linebacker Anthony Pittman and a staffer tested positive. So then they had to cancel practice on Tuesday and go virtual. And then basically the whole coaching staff is deemed to be a close contact, and so they're having to replace their coaching staff for the day to call plays and whatnot. Now, the Detroit Free Press is reporting that a Lions defensive assistant was not wearing his contact tracing device, and then another person held in-person meetings in their office. So I don't know if there's going to be any league discipline for this. It seems like having a coach without half of your staff would be punishment enough, but we'll see. The coaches are participating in meetings via Zoom, but it's a matter of who's calling the plays. So they're missing their interim head coach, Darrell Bevell, their defensive coordinator, their defensive line coach, their defensive backs coach, and their linebackers coach. So none of them are able to call plays. The wide receiver coach, Robert Prince, is going to act as the head coach. Their quarterbacks coach, Sean Ryan, will be the offensive coordinator. I guess Bevell is the offensive play caller, typically, is what I would assume, because all the other coaches that are out are defensive coaches. Their head coach assistant / research and analysis is going to be the defensive play caller. And then their defensive assistant is going to coach the defensive backs. Their director of football research is going to coach the linebackers.
What?
I know.
They got office guys
Yeah.
who are out there coaching. That's hilarious.
Oh, no. Okay. This is weird. I don't know. Okay, William Clay Ford, minority coaching assistant. Ty Warren is going to be their defensive line coach for the day. So Bevell has not tested positive as of Wednesday. The team did ask for the game to be moved, but the NFL rejected that request. So
It doesn't matter. They could have 300 extra coaches. They're not going to beat us.
I know.
I mean, of course, any given Sunday we could go out there and implode, but that's the only way they could beat us is if we implode.
I know. I agree. As far as a Rojo update, a Joe Bucs fan had a report this morning that, of course, Rojo is not playing for the game. He can't make it out of the COVID protocol in time for the game. I think he's right at like 9 games, so he can't be, or he will be at 9 days for the game. I forget which one it is, but Joe Bucs fan is reporting that he has no symptoms, so he's super frustrated that he's sidelined by it, and that he's 11 days out from breaking his pinky, and the Bucs don't know how football ready the pinky is. So that's a huge question for us. Although, I mean, we have, since he's sitting Saturday, which I think he should, we've got an extra week to figure that out. Carlton Davis is another big question. He's going to be a game time decision. He's got that groin injury that took him out of the Falcons game. And then, of course, Donovan Smith is going to be back this week. He was activated from the COVID list, so he is good to go. Our protected players from the practice squad this week are kicker Greg Joseph, wide receiver Jaden Mickens, cornerback Herb Miller, and guard John Moulton. So, yay.
All right. So it looks like we got a good game coming up Saturday. It is going to be, what time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Saturday.
Prime time. Well,
1 o'clock
kinda,
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
So be there, be square.
We're the only game at that time.
Yeah.
That time slot.
I like
So
it.
I think it's going to be a good game. I do not expect a complete curb stomping of the Detroit Lions. I think they do have some good flashes. I think we'll see some good plays for them. They can make plays. But I think that it's just not. It's not going to be a contest.
Other than them throwing deep balls, and there's really not a whole lot to their offense.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they can get them on us. At least in the first half.
Yeah.
And after that, ain't no more deep balls.
I know.
Deep balls are done. Get them all in while you can.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's a long one. We went over our limit. Hope everybody's not upset about that. Yeah, we're just making up for
And him not
our
doing it for
slack.
2 weeks.
Yeah, slacking. Has it been 2 weeks? It's not.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
Whatever.
You whatever.
Oh, you want to do a score prediction?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm going to go with 38 Buccaneers, 21 Detroit.
I like that.
Now, you know what?
Can I copy you?
Let's give them.
What?
Let's give them 24.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to spot them that much in the first?
Yeah. I do. Well, we're going to spot them 17. You know, that's how it works.
I am thinking, I'm going 41 to 26. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Bucs,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, we win this one. We are in the playoffs. No questions asked.
Yes. Even if we lose,
Even
if
if we
Chicago
lose.
loses, we will be in.
Yeah.
Yes.
And who is Chicago playing?
I forget.
Oh my goodness. I should know this. It's
Wait a
not
minute.
Minnesota.
I have it. I can find it very quickly.
Do
Who
it.
that Jacksonville?
Oh no.
Dude.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, so next week.
I mean, they could lose. Chicago
Hey,
could lose.
the Rams
Any
lost to the
given
Jets,
Sunday.
so
I know.
anything could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we win, we're in.
I think Jacksonville is having like quarterback controversy too. I think Glennon got benched and they put Minshew in, and I think they haven't named a starter for Sunday.
Glennon got benched?
Yeah,
There's a shocker.
I know.
Now with
Well,
Minshew,
no, what's a shocker is that Minshew got benched in favor of Mike Glennon.
I thought he didn't get benched. I thought he was like COVID or got hurt or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
We're
we got
gonna
fact check follow up on that one.
Yeah.
All right, we need to get out of here.
All right.
We've gone way over the limit. We're going to get fined. We missed you guys, missed doing the podcast. It's something we enjoy doing. We want to get back up on our schedule. This has just been a weird year, man. Everybody knows it. So.
Well, and Christmas, it's just crazy this time of year.
Yeah. Well, I've got a whole pocket full of excuses. One thing you can count on me for, I'm an excuse master. But guys, we do appreciate it. And if you're in Detroit, go to the game and show up. Let's put some red in the seats up there, man.
Are they having people?
I don't know.
I should probably have figured that out.
Yeah. Well, even if they're not having people, bust in, kick a door down, go in there. Fill the stadium up. Let's keep it positive. Let's get out there and wear our colors proud. We are one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. But you got to get our shit straight. Lavonte. Okay. Anything else to say?
I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone. Bucs
Yes.
Nation.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Enjoy the holiday with the fam.
Yes. For reals. We're having a very limited, just family, just
Quiet.
yeah, very quiet. And last year we had 15 people
Oh God, a whole house full
over
of
for
people.
2-3 days, and now this week nobody. Your dad's coming later in the day on Christmas Day, but that's so weird. I don't think I've ever had a Christmas with just a small amount of people.
I know.
Oh well, we're gonna enjoy it. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Till next time.
Go Bucs.